Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. And I don't believe in taking pills with water. I've never liked water, and then when I found out that Warren and various other people don't like water, because fish fucking it. You know, when I was your age, for sure, nobody drank water. 50 years ago, more or less. You're 25? Okay, 50 years ago. And now, you see people carrying around bottles of water, right? And then even when you have a knapsack or whatever, they got a little slot so you can put your bottle of water in the, right? Does anybody have any medical doctors today, this group? No. Yeah, okay. Why? Thank you. That's exactly right. There is no correlation, reputable correlation, between consumption of water and long life. Zero. Please be seated. How many have hangovers today? Thank you. Some of the YouTubers had, I don't know if it's because they had empathy for you or sympathy, but they must be jet lagged. They're all coming from, God almighty. And you wonder why I call everybody a snowflake. Now, about 1985-ish, I'm interviewed on the Financial Times about, we had just gone public, and we were just voted the fastest growing energy company on the planet. 10,000 companies had gone bust because oil had gone from $41 a barrel to roughly $8, $10 a barrel at that time. It ultimately went to $6 a barrel. And the young lady, and I still remember her name was Cohen, a young woman, a reporter, financial reporter named Cohen, said that she was interviewing me at, I believe, Hyde Park, or might have been St. James Park. And she says that and remember, we were public on the London Stock Exchange, headquartered in Houston, Texas, and then also public on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. So I was making a lot of trips around between those cities, Amsterdam, Houston, and London. She says, you must be jet lagged, sir. And I was young then, and I said, jet lags for cunts. And she writes it down. And she looks up at me. And in those days, now when they would say a bad word, they put C and then XX, T, and S. She cut that part of the story out. And later in that same interview, she said, how is it that, you're going so fast and we're making acquisitions? And when oil, every time you make an acquisition, by the time the ink dries, it's not worth what you paid for it, which was true at the time. And I said, and then I was poking fun the way they talk here in the UK, and I said, actually, the board has taken the decision not to participate in the energy depression. She didn't even look up at me. She did post that or write that in the article. And because we decided, now the board didn't take any fucking decision. The board didn't make a vote. It's just that we were just going to keep humping, And there's a saying in the oil business, we're going to rotate to the right, means that's the drill bit goes to the right. We're going to rotate to the right. We're going to rotate our way out of the problem, or we're going to drill our fucking way out of the problem. And at that time, and it's even more so today, the last bastion of gunslingers in the world are exploration guys, drilling guys. They don't care about budgets and or they care less than other people in the big energy companies because we decided not to participate, and because some people would say because I wasn't an oil guy. The other two co-founders, one was a chartered accountant and one was a lawyer. We didn't know anything about the oil business. Now, and when I say that I knew nothing, it's just like Jerome Remember yesterday, the lawyer who said he knew nothing about... Now, you believed him when he said he knew nothing about veterinary clinics. You believed him when he said, I know nothing about dog grooming, right? Now, that was believable. You believe that. Did anybody not believe? You believe, right? But when I said I didn't know anything about the oil business, and you don't have to know anything about any of these businesses, the people that you're going to listen to, especially the current ones, the ones that have done deals in Corona, we're going to see one Corona person a day, when they say they don't know anything. Now, it's hard to believe a doctor, MD doctor, doesn't know anything about home health. But I guarantee you, they don't. Because now the doctors are little specialities, within a group, and they don't know. Okay. But you don't have to know anything. And it's probably one of the biggest things, the three big questions they're going to ask you if you don't control the conversations. Where are you getting the money from? Where's the equity? That's what, no matter what. And we're going to give you on the templates, and the guys that came in March that didn't follow this. Remember I said, just before the police broke the seminar up, I said you only need to know 25 or 30 phrases, one, and two, you only have to know 5 or 6 or 7 bullet points. I said that clearly. And then the cops, and then, all shit hit the fan, and so we all disbanded. Like thieves in the night were running, right? Or little Persian boys trying to cover their butt side up so nobody pokes it. Okay. You don't have to know. And for those of you that think, and especially the March kids that got started on the wrong foot, virtually all of you, on the wrong foot, it's hard for you to get over the hurdle. You don't have to know. Now, I have a partner who's a vascular surgeon, Dr. Joe, and I told him, I looked at some vascular surgery things on the internet, and you can see anything on the internet, from building an atomic bomb to heart valve surgery on the internet. I said, I believe I could do vascular surgery. Don't forget that 12-year fucking medical school and all the residents and shit. I'm pretty sure, I'm positive I can. And I wouldn't go through, maybe 1 or 2 patients would die. But how many patients did you? And I said, well, everybody loses patients. And I said, and then he told me, he says, I bet you can, Dan. Because I have self-confidence. And I frame my expectations, I'm going to lose a patient or 2. That's no different than a regular doctor. But you have no self-confidence. Remember I said yesterday, I can't remember the last time I fucked up, I did something wrong, or I lost. I think I used the word lost. I lost something. And you looked at me. And I said, you can't remember the last time you won something. Now that's a bit of an exaggeration. But not much. We got Mr. Algeria back there. I hope that's not your phone, because I'm going to shove it up your fucking little tiny, virgin ass. Okay. Because the people that your inner group, and that's why whenever I see the guys, the other gurus selling, you can join my inner group, inner circle. And you get a level, and they upsell you. Can you imagine what their inner groups really look like? They're people just like you. And do you want to be around people just like you? No. But so by definition, and that's why I don't like, and I don't believe mastermind groups work. In fact, I know mastermind groups don't work at any level other than the average of the people that are in the group. Well, if they're all like you, or mostly like you, then why would you do that? But getting back to not having to know anything about your subject matter. Most of the people they are directed subconsciously to an area they think they have some knowledge. For example, rolling up accounting firms as an accountant. Rolling up surgical clinics as a surgeon. Rolling up hair salons as a beautician. And you know the business too well. Like now, a lot of the things I did in the oil and gas business, I wouldn't do it again because I realized the risks involved. And so I see shadows where they're not shadows. I see boogeymen where they're not boogeymen. And that's why I recommend, and most people, other than doctors and nurses and etc., nobody has really any knowledge about home health care. But it's a dirty business. And I call it bedpan business. You know we go from diapers to diapers. You lose your ability to maintain your urine and your shit in your body as you get real old and you wear diapers. Well, bedpans is, people are dying and you're changing diapers. That's why it's called bedpan. But that's why the multiples are so lucrative, because nobody wants to wipe somebody's ass. You understand that? That's why nobody wants them. That's why we can buy them. How'd you like wiping old people's ass for a living? Well, it's 40% margin. But there's certain things you won't do to make money. And then there's certain things that you would do. The YouTubers, they still tell me that my MIT study's not right, and it's a Trump conspiracy. It's a Bill Gates conspiracy to put microbes in your body, and it doesn't make a shit. Let's assume that's all true, all the conspiracy shit. So what? The fact that you wasted time thinking about it, you melonhead. So what? Don't waste time on things you can't change. I learned that young. I learned it with my in-laws. Those of you that are married, are you going to change your in-laws? Are you going to change your mother-in-law and your father-in-law? No fucking way ever, correct? They're still hoping and praying that who you married is going to change you. Don't waste time on things you can't change, that you have no influence over, or even things that you have influence. Self-esteem in kids ends at 7 or 8 years old. It's built. For those of you that have kids older than that, unless they're very immature, I was immature at 7 or 8, so probably I was still building my self-esteem until I was 10 or 11. And that's why one man, they say one man can make a difference. Mahatma Gandhi made a difference. Martin Luther King made a difference. Okay? What is it, 20, 50 guys like that, or gals on the planet? Maybe 100. You're not going to be one of those 100. Of the 2,500 billionaires on the planet, more or less, how many of those have made a difference? Steve, who I happen to have known when he was alive. The last time I saw Steve Jobs, it was in Bangalore. Where's my Bangalore guy? Bangalore, in a nightclub, dancing with himself to the music like this, just in a daze. That's the last time I saw him. Now, I'm not saying that he was on drugs or anything. I don't know any of that. But all I know is he was on that fucking dance floor in Bangalore, India, dancing by himself. And I know that because I was this close. Steve Jobs made it. He changed the world. There's a few. What's the takeaway about Steve?
He was asshole ruthless.
Asshole ruthless. That's an understatement. So far you should be getting, again, you're slow. I went back and changed the slides around because this is a slide. I tell all groups they're slow, but this is a slow group. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
He did change the world, so why would he compromise on anything?
Well, he didn't compromise on anything. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
It seems that the more successful he became, the more people around him were like human roadblocks.
He had no time. I want to say for stupidity, but it transcends that. If you didn't see his vision, he immediately thought you were an idiot. And it could be argued, hindsight being 20/20, looking back, you weren't an idiot, but you just didn't see his vision. Because he saw his visions with clarity, just as clear as these paintings on the wall, clearer than that. That's what he saw. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
Yeah, he lived by, don't confuse me with the facts.
Amen. Now, I was doing that before, even though Steve, I'm only 10 years older than Steve, if he was still alive. I was doing that. I learned a long time ago. Don't confuse me with the facts. Because perception is reality. The facts to you are different than the facts that you see and you see. It's like when a robbery, and the police come and interview the witnesses. There were 4 guys robbed a bank. And then they asked the 60 people in the bank, what did they see? Normally, 60 different stories. Well, it's no different than when you look at the facts or you look at the circumstances, and normally you don't look at the facts. You look at the circumstances, and that's where you go wrong. I make the circumstances. You look at them. Steve Jobs made this shit happen. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
He didn't forgive people when they fucked him. He purposely went out to get revenge. Like when he built Next, he built it specifically for Apple to come buy it from him, just to get that revenge and say, hey, fuck you.
A lot of those guys are vindictive. I fall into the vindictive end of the continuum myself. What else about Mr. Jobs? Yes, sir, in the back.
He was laser beam focused on his vision, and he didn't care about what other people say.
Let's stop right there. If you just change one thing in your life, in this room, and I can say this to every seminar, but not caring what other people think of you, you'll all get rich. At what level, depending on how long you stay focused, depending on whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. But if that one thing, not caring what other people think, and more importantly than that, what people say. See, you don't know, you think you know what they're thinking. But when they're saying, especially in a corporate environment, that's why the old saying, that the water cooler gossip, when people or coffee gossip, when you go to get a cup of coffee and there's 3 or 4 employees there and you bullshit about this guy or that guy or the head of the company. But you're sensitive. You know, you've lived, even a few of you that had some rough times, for the most part, you've led a bubble-wrapped life. Bubble-wrapped. You've been shielded. One of the questions I ask you in the paperwork is about your relationship with your parents, and you were shielded, and normally moms shield kids. Rarely do dads shield kids, but occasionally you do have that. And the shielding and the bubble wrapping that the mom does for you or around you is normally confused with love and nourishing. And, most moms, not all moms, are loving and nourishing, from breastfeeding you, et cetera, et cetera. But just imagine, and one of the things that Brian Rose, he still hasn't accepted it 100%, but has accepted it more now than he did 5 or 6 years ago, is that he wanted to be loved by everybody. He still does. I know if I'm loved by anybody, I didn't do my job. I mean, anybody. There's a lot of people on the Hall of Fame that have made billions that don't like me. Don't like me as a person. And then that's translated, they don't want to help you. What else about Steve? In the back, yes, sir.
So he almost, it sounds like he enjoyed chaos. He loved being in that very stressful situation where other people didn't, so he had the upper hand.
Nobody in this room wants to cause stress. Remember yesterday I said, I don't get heart attacks, I give heart attacks. I don't have strokes, I give strokes. I don't give high anxiety, I get high anxiety. I give it. Because I want to see how you perform under pressure, i.e. snowflakes melt under pressure, i.e. the ads to the British Army would still sticks in my throat. That's how far we've fallen. That ad typifies the human race. It's only talking about the British microcosm, but that shows. Now, when I talked my two buddies, best buddies, to volunteer to go in the Army in 1966, at the height of the Vietnam crisis, if those ads had been around, I mean, you wouldn't get any tough fuckers to sign up ever. Because they would not have wanted to be associated with that. Okay, what else about Steve? Yes, sir.
He is always honest. He stays with the cold hard truth, even with his daughter.
And if his daughter hadn't been considered by him smart, because that's when he decided to help and support her. If she had just been average. Now, I've never followed up to see what happened to her. I mean, in the afterlife, did she go on to do something? I don't know that. But he was hard. And everybody, we're going to talk about one icon that wasn't quite as hard. But in 50 years of being in business, in 50 years of dealing at some of the various highest levels around the world, from presidents of the United States to prime ministers to gifted people, almost all of them, save one or two, at some level, one wants to be liked, and two, their career or the success in their career, and sometimes is measured by them being liked. But more importantly, it's measured by how many people on the planet did they influence, i.e. Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, Facebook, etc., touch, I don't know how many billions he has on Facebook now. I was banned July last year. I don't have Facebook anymore. I truly believe it's because I posted an article from Vanity Fair magazine, an interview that he did in May last year, where he says basically he skirts the law and he takes advantage of the ambiguities of the law and being an asshole. And I didn't see it on CNN. I didn't see it on CNBC. I didn't see it on BBC. I didn't see it anywhere. But one of you sent me a link. You got nothing better to do, and I'm thankful the guy sent me the link. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm the only person that's ever published it on social media. Now, are they afraid of retribution? I don't know. But I know it's not a goddamn coincidence I got banned from Facebook shortly thereafter. What else about Steve? Yes, sir.
He absolutely loved himself, like extremely. Being on stage, being exposed, this was his thing.
And the first product, or the big product that he showed that didn't work, and they faked it. Was it disingenuous, him pretending like the product worked? Yeah. Did it work? Yeah. Does anybody hardly ever bring it up? No. Now, if there had been all the podcasters and all these people that are around today, they would, most likely crawled all over him for him doing that. But history has a way of reducing the effect of bad shit that you did. Fortunately, I came right at the cusp at the end of at the beginning of the internet generation, my fame and fortune. And so a lot of the crazy shit I did before isn't on YouTube. It's not been recorded. So otherwise, I'm sure that my reputation would be different than it is today. Anything else about Steve? Yes, sir, in the back.
He said that at some stage he wanted more control. He was asked by that CEO, and he said, it's all about control, more control. I don't understand how other people...
Well, he was a control freak. But the other thing is, Markowitz, the guy that put up the 80 grand for them to start back in the day, ultimately, it's the same guy that fired Steve. So, not arguably, but for real, Steve made him rich from that investment. It's one of the great, it's one of the great returns of private equity, putting up 80 grand for a third of Apple in the world. It's phenomenal. But he still cut Steve's throat. That's the operative part. Money's thicker than water and blood's thicker than water and money's thicker than both. I could just go down, and just put a cap on every one of your relatives' head. Boom, 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 boom. And you'd be better off in a week. Now you have a comment.
Again, he did not have a good relation with his wife and daughter.
He didn't have good relation with anybody. And you have good relations. Now you're the one that had good relations with his parents, remember? I'll never forget that as long as I live. That's why you're fucked up.
He got no friends as well.
Yeah. All these guys have personal problems getting along with anybody. And yet you want to get along with everybody. Isn't there a dichotomy? Do you see it? The difference between how a high performance, in Steve Jobs' case, a super high performance person reacts, and you. For some of you, I'm the only super high performance person you've ever been around. Most of you. Perhaps all of you. Yet I can name, for me, Dan Peña, one person, at least 100 big fucking hitters. Big fucking hitter that I've had the privilege of being around, partnered with, work for. At least 100. And here I'm the closest. And now we got Corona. I had a Corona beer the other night, just for fun. Do not forsake me, oh Corona. I go around the castle singing that. And Sally says, please, Dan. That's why the bats are coming out, you know. And you can't kill bats in this country. Bats are owned by the Queen. You can't. The Queen owns the swans on the lock too. Queen also owns the bees. You can't kill. It's 1,000 pounds of bat. You kill a bat. 1,000 pounds. And the wasps that we had here, you can kill them all day long. But the wasps and the bats live in the same environment. So now that we're disrupting the poor fucking bats running around. And before you got here, Kat and EJ and Kim are chasing with nets, trying to catch the bats without hurting them. And the mean little fuckers, a guy up in Guthrie Village died from being bitten by a bat about 3 years ago. But you can't kill him. Is that that's fucked up. But anyway, okay, what else about Steve? Yes, sir.
He directly had the tough conversations. He doesn't postpone, and he has very clear boundaries that he's not afraid to be rude and finish the argument to the very end.
Just like you, right? A real tough fucker. Now, all the attributes, now you see, you're not calling them attributes. This man's calling them attributes that you're describing that Mr. Jobs had and the founder had. You don't have any of them. Now, is that clear? Not even remotely close. Even it's just starting with he didn't care what anybody thought. He wasn't confused by the facts. Some of you, that's all you know is the spreadsheet, the facts. And I think I asked you, unless you change the input on the data and you hit the send button, the result that comes out is the same. Unless you change the data that, you know. So you can hit the fucking send button a million fucking times. It's not going to change. Some of you are in industries, no matter how many times you analyze them, they're fucking dead. They're never going to come back at the pre-corona level. They may come back. And when we talk about how we find the fragmented industries to consolidate, they call cottage industries. I never figured, if anybody on YouTube knows why they're called cottage industries, let me know. They're also called cottage industries or fragmented industries. To consolidate, we're looking for 20 to 40% gross margins. If it doesn't have, and some of you have already started, you don't have, your deal, cybersecurity, does not have 20 to 40% gross margins. I don't care what fucking deal you're looking at. I said, and I did say that before the cops broke us up. And that's why retail, restaurants on the high street that operate at 1, 2, 3, Tesco's operates at a 2% margin. And to operate a business with anything that less than a 10% gross margin, you got to be fucking good manager. And that's why I tell you kids, don't bother with those. I want 20, because you're bad managers. I want you to be able to do 20 to 40% gross margin. Then if you fuck it up, you might, if it's a 40, you might get it down, fuck it up to 25%. So, and if you're operating at a 25% gross margin, maybe you're making 15% net, maybe. That's why I demand big margin businesses, that they're easier to manage because you've got wiggle room to fuck something up. And we all fuck something up. Anything else about Steve? Okay. The other thing you saw was Dan, who came to me 23 years old. In 2003, I can still close my eyes and see him walking in the hotel lobby, pimples on his face, chubby face, skinny body. It looked like he was wearing his father's suit. Father's suit. In those days, he wore socks. I'm sure if I would have checked the socks, there would have been holes in it, but I didn't check the socks. And flew down from Vancouver. We didn't have the money to fly down from Vancouver. That was 2003. A couple years later, and the rest is history. Comments about Dan? Yes, sir.
Your results are the reflection of your self-esteem.
He didn't know what self-esteem was in 2003. But he's gotten wealthy, notwithstanding the house he doesn't own that he lives in. And that's a slippery road. I mean, because the kids, when I first started the seminar in 1993, the rumors on the street from about 1993 to 2000 was I didn't own this place. That's the first, the mudslinging started. I didn't own this place. And I don't, irrevocable trust that I'm the beneficiary of owns it, which is true. Okay. And then after me, it's Sally, and after Sally, it's the kids. But that was the first thing that the mud that was thrown. The second thing, the mud, that I didn't really start with $820. And that went away, and then afterwards, that became not the primary reason that people would attack me. The next thing was I didn't have any real results with kids. So then I spent the next almost 10 years honing in on where I could find one of you to be successful, and it was hard. Because I grossly underestimated how difficult it would be. You've heard me say on YouTube, I'd never buy a castle again. I just by accident saw a bill. The bills and shit don't come to me. But there was an envelope, as they say in Kentucky, And I opened it up, and it was 18,000 pounds for something that they had to do here. They had to do with hydropower, hydroelectric, and this, that, and the other thing. That's just one little thing. 25 grand for one little thing that busted. And we get several of those a month. But the old girl, this isn't 450 years old, but the old girl's holding up pretty well. Okay, YouTube, thank you.